it, hit it.
Hello and welcome to the Marley Bird YouTube channel, brought to you by Red Hot Yarns. In this video, I will show you how to do the super simple Italian cast on. If you take a look down here, you can see that I used the Italian cast on for this hat. And if you notice right here where I cast on my stitches, it looks rather invisible. It looks as if these knit stitches flow right into the cast on edge, and same with the purls. It's rather invisible on either side. The Italian cast on is very easy, as I mentioned, and it's great to use if you're going to do ribbing or maybe you start a brioche project. It just gives that little something extra and a wonderful, I'm going to call it a finish, even though it's at the beginning of your work. So go ahead, grab some yarn and needles, and let's jump in and let me show you how to do this very quick and easy cast on. The Italian cast on has you begin by measuring out a tail that is 3 times the length of your cast on, very similar to the long tail cast on. Once you have that amount, go ahead and position the yarn in your hands just as you would do a long tail cast on. Go ahead and grab your needle, whichever you're going to use for this project, and we are not going to begin with a slip knot. We're simply going to take our needle, place it on top of that yarn, and you're going to scoop underneath the yarn and back up. By doing so, you'll notice that puts the string that's on my finger resting on top of the string that's on my thumb, okay? That's going to be important here. What we're going to do now is essentially cast on a knit stitch, then a purl stitch, a knit stitch, then a purl stitch. That's what allows these stitches to become invisible at the edge of the cuff or the brim. The yarn that is resting on top is sort of a clue for you to know that that is the yarn we're going to get first. So with our needle in this position and with this yarn on top, we will go underneath this yarn, come up here and grab that one and come back. Okay? Now you'll notice my thumb yarn is on top. So to go get that one, we're going to go underneath this one, come all the way around and scoop this one and come back. All right, now this yarn's on top. We're going to go underneath, come up and grab and come back. Now this one's on top. So we start over here, come underneath, and we scoop this one. We come underneath it and bring it back. This one's on top. So we go under, come up and grab it and come back. This one's on top. We go underneath, come around and scoop and come back. You'll do this until you're 1 stitch shy of the number of stitches you want to cast on. By doing this grab and scoop, you are placing the stitches on your needle in the correct orientation. When I get to the last one, what I like to do is essentially do the long tail cast on for 1 stitch. I will come down here and just work 1 cast on, and it just locks it all into place. Now I do have friends, I'm going to take off that last one, okay? I do have friends that like to just do a backwards E with this last stitch right there, and you could do that as well, whichever one works best for you. Once you have all the stitches cast on, place that needle in your left hand and begin your pattern. For this, we're going to jump into a ribbing pattern, and you can see that little purl bump right there at the start, and that lets me know this first stitch should be purled. So I'm going to go ahead and purl my first stitch, and when I let that jump off, I am left with a knit stitch right there. Can you see that? So I'll knit it. There's a purl bump right there, so I will purl this one. There's a knit stitch. I'll knit it. Purl, I'll purl, knit, I'll knit, so on and so forth. And as long as you maintain the pattern that you started with this Italian cast on, your cast on edge will be invisible in your project. It just really gives that really nice tailored finish, I think. The hat I showed you at the start is a hat I recreated from the Winter Olympics that Chloe Kim was wearing. And I noticed that in her original Burton hat, it had a really nice invisible cast on. So I chose to use the Italian cast on to mimic that same look. I've turned my work now and I can see right here at the start, once again, I would begin with my pearls, but you can see here, I'm getting a really nice invisible edge. Let me work up a couple rows so I can show you some more. I've done a couple rows here just so you can see what it looks like on the example we started off with, but down here at the start, you can see where these stitches look like they just started directly from the edge. And it doesn't matter which side you're looking at, they look like they're just at this invisible edge, which is a really great looking start to your project to make it a really great finished look. As you look down here one more time, this is the hat I made. I actually called it the Chloe Kim hat because, you know, it was made because of the one she wore after she won Olympic gold in the snowboarding event. And this is a free pattern on the marleybird.com website. I'll put a link in the video description box right down there below. While you're down there, please smash that like button, as my kids say, and I hope you enjoyed this Italian cast-on tutorial. Everything you need to know about knitting or crochet can be found right here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel. Learn with Marley Bird. Visit youtube.com/Marley Bird.